If you want a Wes Anderson movie that really Wes Andersons, Asteroid City is the destination for you. Hey everybody, welcome to Mainely Movies. Today I'm going to be talking about the 2023 comedy drama, Asteroid City. If you're new here, please consider subscribing for a variety of movie-related content like reviews, rank lists, and trailer reactions. All my reviews include a breakdown of the pros and cons, my rating, and some tailored film recommendations, so be sure to watch through to the end of this video for all of that extra content. Asteroid City stars Jason Schwartzman, Scarlett Johansson, and Tom Hanks, and was directed by Wes Anderson. Set in 1955, it tells the story of an eclectic group of people who witness an unexpected discovery while gathered for a junior stargazer convention in the small desert town of Asteroid City. If you've ever seen one of his films, you know that Wes Anderson has a very distinctive style. Quirky, indulgent, meticulously crafted, it's extremely easy to tell when you're watching one of his films. Many of his movies have been hits, but when it comes to Wes Anderson, it's less about the individual films and more about his body of work as a whole. His very unique style and auteur presence make him a very divisive filmmaker, and most people have fairly strong opinions about his movies and his just general Wes Anderson-iness. He's got his diehard fans who eagerly await each new release. He's got the people who absolutely hate the self-indulgent style of his films, and then everybody in the middle who kinda don't care and are also just kinda baffled by his movies. Asteroid City is a very Wes Anderson-y movie. Maybe not the Wes Anderson-iest, but close. Obnoxious made-up adjectives aside, you know what I mean by that. His typical unique style speaks for itself, and all the hallmarks of that style are on display here. As always, this is a visual delight of a film. The immaculate and almost too detailed production design, the bright pastel color palette, the symmetrical cinematography and expressive framing, pans, and tilts, the expansive ensemble cast features many of the Wes Anderson regulars we've come to expect, interspersed with plenty of other A-listers in bit parts and even non-speaking cameos. Dry humor, quirky oddities, precocious kids, and a self-indulgent style over substance approach abound. Just about everything you expect from a Wes Anderson film is here. Wes Anderson rarely tells his stories in a straightforward way. Some of his earlier films are slightly more traditional with their narrative structure, but nonlinear timelines, cutaways, flashbacks, and even anthologies, like with his previous most recent film, The French Dispatch, are certainly more his style. His stylistic norms continue here, with a metatextually layered structure that'll make Wes Anderson fans' mouths water and nearly everybody else's eyes roll. This is a film about a TV broadcast of a stage play, complete with a historical accounting of the creation and production of that play. What we would think of as the narrative film is the play, Asteroid City, told in Technicolor widescreen brilliance. The Bryan Cranston-hosted TV broadcast intercuts that play in black and white Academy ratio to provide background information on the writing and casting of the play. For me, this started off fairly obnoxiously in a very Wes Anderson-y self-indulgent way. The black and white scenes interrupted the flow of the story, but I will admit that they did start to grow on me as the story went along and the themes started to overlap. It was still a labored novelty, but it was okay. The aspect of the structure that never grew on me, though, was the use of script intertitles, denoting the act and scenes we were about to watch. It was a very redundant reminder that we were watching a play, and broke up the flow for no real reason. As with most Wes Anderson movies, this story is laced with very melancholic themes. There are plenty of ways to interpret the open-ended and underexplored thematic ideas here, but grief was one of the major through lines, both in the play Asteroid City and its background production broadcast. Characters dealing with grief seem to have difficulty expressing emotion, instead opting to internalize and bottle things up. Even the major event in Asteroid City can be interpreted as an allegory for this, with the town being literally bottled up under quarantine, and denial of the event being the prevailing decision for how to cope with it. Again, all a little labored, but the film does provide us with ideas to think about, at least for those who can get past the visual spectacle and overarching oddity of the story and presentation. The messages and ideas in this film are quite downbeat, but that's not to say it's an overly sad or serious movie. Wes Anderson's filmography is generally regarded as fairly comedic. The degree of humor is subjective, and while I often find myself on the more unamused side of his films, this one struck me as bizarrely entertaining. Sight gags are nothing new in his movies, but this one is just absolutely loaded with them. Bizarre roadrunners, extensive diner menus, milk and real estate vending machines in a no-whores desert town. Nothing here is laugh out loud funny, but quite a few things are worthy of a smirk and quick nose exhale. Asteroid City isn't going to be a film that makes a big splash with general film audiences, and it certainly won't make many new Wes Anderson fans, but it's definitely a movie that'll maintain the current fan base. Alright, let's talk about the pros and cons. Pro number one has got to be the sight gags. Nearly all Wes Anderson films have little quirky visual gags throughout them, so this isn't a unique trait for the film, but for some reason, they just struck me as a bit funnier and more enjoyable than usual. The story itself is a bit episodic and divided amongst the different groups of characters, so the oftentimes random little jokes and gags fit in nicely, adding a bit of quirky levity to a bright but downbeat story of grief. Nothing here is gonna make people laugh out loud, but much of it will make you chuckle to yourself. Goofy little things that are inconsequential to the plot, but still momentarily entertaining. The Roadrunner, the absurd diversity of train cargo, the ridiculously extensive menu offerings at the diner, the perpetual car chase, the plethora of unusual vending machines. All weird and pretty pointless to the narrative, but amusing nonetheless. The second pro is the visual aesthetic. Certainly not a surprise, but this encompasses all of the visual components of the Wes Anderson-iness of the film. The cinematography with its symmetry, entertaining framing, and quirky camera movements. The production design with its extensive staging, unnaturally bright color palette, and seemingly endless expanse of details. It's certainly very self-indulgent, and it's something that sometimes causes me to roll my eyes a bit in some of his other films, but the 50s setting and the stage play core to the story makes it all work nicely here. On the con side, the biggest issue is the structure. Admittedly, there is some creative novelty to the metatextual layering on display here. Anderson rarely presents his stories in a straightforward manner, so a movie about a TV special about a play and its production is very on brand for him, but it's also very unnecessarily complex. I appreciate the different colors and aspect ratios, and the behind-the-scenes production moments did grow on me a bit as the film progressed, but it disrupted the flow of the story and severely hampered the pacing. The same can be said about the script intertitles, which denoted act and scene throughout the film. It was clever at first, but ultimately a redundant and unnecessary measure to continually remind us that the Asteroid City story we're watching is supposed to be a stage play. Before I give you my rating recommendations, I want to remind you that if you're interested in buying Asteroid City or any of the other films I mentioned today, I do have affiliate links for all of them in the description below. I get a small commission from anything you buy using one of my links, so I'd really appreciate it if you use them if you're in the market for any of these movies. I'm gonna give Asteroid City 3 out of 5 paws. Although bogged down by an obnoxiously indulgent structure, this quirky, colorful film offers up everything you would expect from a Wes Anderson tale, for better or worse. I would recommend Asteroid City to fans of Wes Anderson's films. He has a very distinctive style, and just about every identifiable hallmark of his is on full display here. Symmetrical cinematography, eccentrically tailored production design, a huge ensemble cast with countless A-list actors and cameo roles, it's all here. If you're already a fan, this will certainly deliver more of what you like. If you're an Anderson novice, it'll likely baffle, and if you can't stand the Wes Anderson style, well, this isn't going to be the film to change your mind. If you liked Asteroid City, I would recommend Moonrise Kingdom. This is another Wes Anderson film, so it boasts many of the visual and stylistic hallmarks that this film does. Plus, it's another period piece featuring a precocious coming-of-age storyline and many of the same actors. If you want some more Wes Anderson, but maybe want to mix things up a little bit, you might want to check out Isle of Dogs. As a stop-motion animated film, it's intrinsically different from a stylistic standpoint, but is another film that features sci-fi elements and a story of government cover-up. And if you'd like to step away from Wes Anderson, you should check out Midsommar. The story and folk horror elements of this film are quite different, but this is another movie that explores grief and themes of loss while situated within an immaculately designed production that emphasizes its visual aesthetic. Alright, a couple questions for you guys. Number 1, have you seen Asteroid City? If so, what'd you think of it? And number 2, what's your favorite Wes Anderson movie? Be sure to leave your answers in the comments below so we can get a discussion going. Alright, so if you got some enjoyment, insight, or information out of this review, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit that like button. And if you haven't done so already, please hit subscribe while you're at it to see more videos like this. Till next time, this has been Alyssa with Mainly Movies, the way life should be.